everyone, it's Asia the Aquarius. Today I'm back with a 10-minute makeup tutorial. Today I'm going to show you all how to do a fall and autumn themed full glam. So if you love everything autumn as much as I do, keep watching. Okay, so I'm going to jump right into my steps. I usually don't prime my face with a traditional makeup primer. I just wash my face and use lotion. I think it creates a really nice base, but it's not too heavy. So I've done that, and now I'm going to jump into the eye look. So I start with a concealer as my primer. I'm using Wet n Wild Photofocus concealer in light medium beige. So I go ahead and I apply this directly to my lid. Not too much though. And then I'll take a flat brush. This one's also by Wet n Wild, shaped like this. And I'll go ahead and buff that out. One thing to remember is when you're working with anything on your eyes, you don't want to press too heavily because you don't want to press into your skin in general. But when you're working with concealer, if you move it too much, the product is going to go everywhere and there'll be spaces in it. So you just buff it out like that. You extend to the outer corners. So for fall, we all love a warm tone moment. So I'll be working with a lot of golds, a lot of oranges and browns. So the palette I'm using today is Beauty Treats Rose Gold Nudes Eye Collection. I thought this would do the trick. And so for my base shade, I want to work with something that's not too heavy. And so I'm going to go into that one. A trick I learned is to hold the brush towards the tip. That way you can control how heavy you're applying it. If you're holding it like this, it's very tempting to dig and it'll create a really heavy application and it's gonna be harder to blend. So I suggest holding it at the very end like this and using really light windshield wiper motions across your entire lid, and you don't want to go up too high. So the key here is just to blend and blend and blend. So now I've set that foundational layer, I'm going to move on to the main pop of color of the look. So I'm gonna go for a really gold, shimmery, pretty orange. So I'm gonna use this one here. I'm just gonna use a regular flat eyeshadow brush. This one's by Shani, number 24. So I'm gonna concentrate this in the middle of my eye. I'm gonna go from the inner to the outer corners, but concentrate mostly on this part of the eye, not going up into the crease. So for the outer crease, I'm going to use a brush that's shaped like a cone. It's really fluffy. And I'm going to go for the brown shade. So this one right here. For this, the first step is when I apply it to my eye, I'm going to just hold the brush there and I'm going to move the actual, I'm not going to move the actual brush across my eye. I'm just going to hold it and just move it in a stationary position. So I'm going to hold it right here and then go like this. Then I do that again, and this time I will drag it just a little bit to this point of my eye. Just a little bit though. Hold it and then drag. This is the scariest step because when you're looking at yourself, you're like, what did I do? SOS, abort mission. I call this the pre-lash panic. TM, where you're like, goodness gracious, but I promise it's gonna work out. It just looks really crazy right now. So next we can go right to the face. I am using the Kiss Pro Touch Liquid Foundation. My color is Warm Honey. I've tried a million different application methods for foundation. I've actually used a flat brush and just go like that. No, I've used a beauty blender, but for the past year or so, I've really been in love with just a fluffy foundation brush by Wet n Wild. So I apply 2 drops of the product very sparingly, and then I put on the top, make sure it's out of my sight so I don't use more. So you can build using foundation and powder, which I'll show you later, but it's best just to stay really thin on the initial foundation application. And then I'll use the concealer again. At this time, I'll put a little bit right under my eye, very thin layer. Again, do not want cake face. Then I'll take that same flat brush and I'll blend that out, and I'll do so using a tapping motion all the way up to your waterline. And it just creates this really nice arc of brightness right under your eye. Goddess. Next, we can go on to the contour. I'm using Kat Von D's Shade and Light Contour Palette. I'm using both the darker and lighter shades. This one's been loved, as we can see. So here's my contour brush. Looks like that. Take a little bit of that, a little bit of that. A trick I learned for contour is you want to make sure that you're creating an arc around here, almost going up. If you go straight down, it's gonna drag your face down. Now on this, please use at your own discretion. I love a really harsh contour. I know the purpose of contour is for it to seem like your face is naturally shaped that way. However you apply it, it's supposed to be thinning your face in those areas and not noticeable, but I like it very noticeable. Hush, hush as can be. Okay, so time for powder. I use the CoverGirl Clean Professional Powder. I'm using translucent medium. I'm gonna go ahead and use a powder brush and apply just a little bit. Now I have dry skin, so I don't really like to bake. So this is how much powder I put here. I don't like to bake because it just makes my skin way too dry, cake face moment, and I'm not having that. So I just use a little bit just to set the powder and the concealer, just enough. And then I take some more of the powder and I put this on my chest and my neck. And the remaining, just the dust that's left here, I go a little bit over this so the concealer or the contour is not as harsh. There we go. Now I can move on to highlight. My highlight brush is a little bit bigger than my contour brush. So this is the contour, this is the highlight. And I'm using an NK Perfection highlighter. These are about a couple bucks. I'm using a real gold tone to go along with our fall theme. Nose, forehead, right above the contour, all the way to the temples. I am always tempted to use tons of highlight, but I've been refraining lately because I already live in a really hot state and it will look like I'm sweating if I use too much, and I don't need to look like I'm sweating any more than I already am. So next I can move on to brows. My eyebrows are microbladed, so as you can see here, this is my natural hair in the front and this is the part that's tattooed on essentially. So I go ahead and I take a brush with a spoolie and I brush upwards. And I draw on a little bit of a line just to reinforce that front, and then I focus on filling in the edge so that it's as dark as the rest of my brow. And I go a little bit on the top, not too much. I want to leave the fronts alone. Leave Brittany alone. Then to clean up that brow, I take a brush that's shaped like this. This one's by Wet n Wild as well. And I use my foundation. I just go like that. So I go right underneath. Like so. This brow is my baby. We talk all the time. It loves me. This brow, it does not have time for me. So after I do that, I take a cone-shaped brush, that way that I can buff out the front of the brow. So it's shaped like this. and I'll start to blend backwards. So when I blend backwards, it'll actually grab a little bit of this product in the front and create a front for my brow. So it's not as sparse, but it's not bulky. All right, so now we can move on to the lips. I like to make sure there's enough powder on my lips for it to be matte, not too much though. So I take my powder brush. So I like to use a really dark lip liner when I'm using any type of lipstick. It doesn't matter the color. I like it to be a little bit darker than the lipstick itself. So this is the one I'm going to be using. It's a bright red. It's Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit, and it's Missy and Fierce. So I'm going to use a really dark, almost maroon colored lip pencil. I know it looks crazy, but trust me, it will work out. So I don't have a very defined Cupid's bow. It's really small, so I like to draw the one that I want, like so. Okay, I'm back with my lashes on. I'm going to go to my eyeliner. I'm using LA Colors liquid eyeliner. And the trick to this is not to start off trying to execute the full wing. You just want to start in small pieces and extend so it doesn't get out of control. So you take your eyeliner and you start right in the inner corner, and we want to go to about here. So this is the final look. If you guys enjoyed this 10-minute tutorial, please check in with me soon and we will do another great look in no time at all. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye.